What's going on, y'all? Chidi Delibe back with another video. Donald Trump and the Trump DOJ is suing California based upon its obvious, clear, and tyrannical disregard for federal law in regards to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the ICE department known as ICE. You have craziness here in California, such as the likes of the Oakland mayor, openly, not covertly, not slyly, but openly letting criminal illegal aliens know that there will be an ICE raid or ICE sweeps in their communities. I'm not talking about, people who have lived in this country for 20 years. There's a debate over how to deal with the DACA and all these different things. I'm not talking about that at this particular juncture. I'm talking about criminal illegal aliens. Well, gee, what kind of crimes are these criminal illegal aliens committing? I don't know. Things like murder, DUI, child molestation, illegal acts with a minor. Yeah, simple stuff like that. This lady, I believe her name is Schaaf, the mayor of Oakland, completely violating federal law by not complying with the ICE department. And actually, she is the, I'm trying to think of Paul Revere. She is the criminal version of Paul Revere, letting criminal, felonious, illegal immigrants know that ICE is coming to get them. So those communities can still have the guy that is having illegal acts with a minor, and the guy who is driving drunk, and the guy who has committed murder, and the other people who have been deported illegally. This is part of the Trump DOJ suing California, saying enough is enough, y'all. And I've never understood this with leftists, that leftists like to play these hypocritical games. Games like, I will obey what federal laws I feel like obeying. But you, Mr. Conservative, you, Mr. non-left winger, you must obey all the federal laws that we see fit. For example, leftists don't like, of course, the fact that marijuana is illegal on the federal level. And so you have states like Colorado, prominently, and many other states. And now even with California passing their law regarding marijuana legalization on the state level, even though it's federally illegal, the California leftists say, we don't care what the federal law says. We're going to do what we want to do. And in many ways, like with this whole averting and going around ICE, they don't care what the federal law says. They don't care that these people have actual, enforcement paperwork to deport these people. These people are listed and known and say, hey, you are scheduled for deportation. And California says, we don't care what the federal law says. We're going to completely stand in opposition. We're going to completely stand against federal law. But I'll use, for example, Roy Moore over in Alabama when he was on the Supreme Court for the state of Alabama and said, we here in the state of Alabama, we're not going to certify out-of-state gay marriage licenses. We're not going to do it. We don't care what the federal law, we don't care if the Supreme Court ruled, which I believe ruled incorrectly and erroneously, since there's nothing in the Constitution that deals with marriage, whether it's gay or hetero, doesn't matter. But Roy Moore says, we're not going to recognize these gay marriages. What did the leftists and liberals say? Well, this is federal law. The Supreme Court decided this. You're disobeying federal law. How dare you? All the while, they're disobeying all these federal laws. And they're saying to heck and thumbing their nose at all these federal laws. The hypocrisy is ridiculous. And when it comes to California, my home state, which I love for its nature and its beauty, but for the politics and the leftism that's running rampant in the state, it is horrendous. But what it's doing now is making people less safe. When we have criminal illegals running rampant in communities, and people are purposely allowing people like that to stay and fighting against the government to keep these criminals in, something's got to be done. Sue them up. Take them to court. And at this point, I know as a fiscal conservative, I don't like the government spending all this money on, cases that don't go anywhere. But on this one, I don't give a dang. Take him to court. This is ridiculous. And this honestly should be a case. I don't even know why we should even have to sue at this point. Because it's so ridiculous. We should take away, Trump should just outright take away federal funding from my home state of California and just say, what the heck with it. If you don't want to obey federal law, then you don't get federal money. How about that? Nothing. No federal money until you do right by these federal laws. To me, that just makes sense. You can't thumb your nose at the feds, but then say, hey, feds, you better give us your money. How insane is that? And then, of course, illegal immigration at large. Let's just not even talk about the whole criminal element of it, but just the massive amount of illegal immigrants we have here in California, which puts, it's countrywide, but especially in the southwestern states like California and Arizona, you have such a massive influx of illegal immigrants coming into the states. And yes, taking labor, because now in California, of course, you can get a D, you can get an ID, you can get a California driver's license. And you don't think these people are going to take those California driver's licenses and vote with them? Oh, Chidi, you can't. It's a felony to vote as an illegal alien. You think these people are walking into these polling booths where they don't even ask you for ID, and you think they're not going to be voting? And you know which way these people are voting. These Latinos, especially Mexicans, they're voting Democrat. People trying to make, they're Catholic. They have Catholic faith, so they don't fall lock stock with the Democrat Party. Polls show that they do. And if Latinos, especially the mass majority of them being Mexican who come in here, and if they were voting Republican, they would have already put up a border wall with T-1000s and dogs that spit lasers at you. I know I'm telling the truth. So we see even BET.com. I try to use left-wing articles when I talk with leftists so that they don't just shut down and don't just completely, take what I'm telling them for granted. BET.com had an article about illegal immigration and how it prices out black applicants, especially teenage blacks, from the workforce. And you have minorities and women are being affected by illegal immigration in the workforce. All these low-skilled jobs, they're being picked up in certain ways. There's a certain segment of them that are being picked up by illegal immigrants, and who, unfortunately, are trying to fill some of those low-skilled labor jobs. You have minorities, especially young blacks. That's why the teenage black unemployment rate is at like 50%. Well, why do you think it's at 50%? Do you think it's just because black teens are lazy altogether and they don't want to work? Sure. I was 16 years old when I got my first job at McDonald's. I wanted a job. And there's other black teenagers that do want a job. But guess what? If you have illegals in this country who California allows them in ways to be able to work and take jobs, then they're taking away jobs from actual citizens. This is, to me, is a no-brainer. Sue my state of California. Sue it up. Hold it up in court. Don't care how long it takes. Take away the funding. Take it down. Shut it down. Leftism is destructive. It's an ungodly evil. What does leftism? I'll make a side video on this, but how does leftism help? I'm not talking about liberal people who, they kind of be libertine on certain things, but, on social issues, they may be a little bit, more on the left. I'm not talking about liberals, all right? Classic liberals, let's put it that way. I'm talking about leftists, far leftists. Like, what good do they bring society? They mess up gender. They mess up immigration. They mess up the economy. They mess up fun. You can't have fun. You can't joke because they don't want everything PC. So comedy is out of the question unless you're making fun of conservatives, which is just sorry and whack if the only people you can make fun of is a certain group of people and everybody else is off limits. I don't know. I'm not trying to go on a rant because I was going on immigration. But please, subscribe. And let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you feel. If you are a California resident, okay, Please let me know what you think of this tomfoolery, balderdash, and outright shenanigans going on in the state of California in regards to illegal immigration and the Trump DOJ suing the state of California. The Golden State. But this Golden State has turned into the rusty state as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, that's my time, y'all. Peace and love. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one.